Life's best moments are best captured by photography and video. You may ask, why photography and video? Because if a photo is worth 1,000 words, video is worth 1,000,000. And GPS photography and video will leave you speechless. GPS specializes in weddings, sports, fitness, and so much more. Book your next shoot today at 910-257-0526 or gpsphotoandvideo.com.
Welcome to the Amazon's podcast. I'm Glenn Young, owner of Amazon's Fitness Magazine. Celebrate the female physique. Subscribe to AmazonsFitMag.com. The podcast is brought to you by Maximus Posing Suits. Let your inner warrior shine. Custom-made competition suits for victory on every stage. MaximusPosingSuits.com. And, of course, GPS photography and video. Why photography and video? Because if a photo's worth 1,000 words, video's worth 1,000,000. GPSphotoandvideo.com. My guest, and recently got her pro card. Well, not recently, but she has it now. Taking the year off, IFBB Figure Pro, Ashley Blake. You've seen her in Amazon's Fitness Magazine if you were a subscriber, obviously, and you bought the previous issues, so you knew who. So those of you should know who I'm talking about. Ashley, thanks for coming to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Finally.
So what's been going on with you?
Just trying to grow into this sport and hang with the big girls when I get ready.
Yeah, because you can't run with the big dogs. Stay on the porch.
It's insane. I feel like the difference from NPC to the pro stage, and really just dissecting all the shows that they're pumping out and what you need to be up there with them. It's a lot to take on, but I'm taking the challenge, so we'll see what happens.
I'm sure you're going to do great, because you got to go to the next level at some point. You can't stay an amateur forever. You
do. It's so different though, because I feel like my coach and I are very big for watching the recent shows, and we always try to take like the top 5 and see what is winning the top 5. And I feel like every show is different. You have some girls that are the thick, dense muscle, kind of along the lines of physique, in my opinion. And then you have some of the girls that are the smaller, like more conditioned. And when I see them, I'm like, I can hang. So we're just trying to get that right there in the middle, and see what happens. So we'll see.
Sort of like a scouting report. What else have you seen in the shows this year? Because obviously you've been watching all the pro shows. So the Atlanta Pro is coming up next. What have you seen? What have you thought? What's been your coach telling you? And hey, look, this is what we need to plan for.
Bigger back. He said, the pro girls, their backs is really where they're winning it. So that's been our biggest our feedback period from winning my pro card all the way really through.
I was going to ask you,
It's just that the thick muscle belly in the back, that 3D. So he's like, we have to really grow width-wise and then the density. So that's been the biggest. And it's hard because it's like I was saying, even talking to some of the girls who are competing, Daniela Means and some of the other girls, what do you feel like now that, I won my pro card with her at Junior USA's? And she's like, it's just so different. Every show it's like some shows are the more conditioned ones, and then some shows are the thicker muscle look. So I feel like if we float right in the middle, and then bring conditioning, we'll be okay.
Right. So, and of course that all-time X factor,
Yes. Yeah. Having that little waist. Yeah. So my coach, at first said, let's do like New York Pro for our first show. And I was like, that's
that would have been a big one. Yeah.
That's a little big for your first one, but he's very much so like when we when we show, we're going to show. We're not
Yeah.
going just, to see what we do or how we do it. It's definitely going to be, let's rattle things up. So
hmm
he's confident, but we'll tread lightly. We'll see what happens.
Well, you can't be scared,
Mm-mm.
because it's the
Absolutely.
pros. It is
Yeah.
what it
Yeah.
is. And the
It's
best
funny
is,
because I feel
hmm
like, I've been watching like their stuff and the top five and all the news, and the placings. And I
hmm
think to myself, I want to be like the big girls. And I'm like, but wait, you are the big girl now. Like
there
you,
you go.
that is you.
And there's no better example than the champ, Sid
Yeah.
Gillian. You got Jessica Reyes Badia,
Yep.
Lola Montez. Those top three,
Which is
that's the
for
standard.
me, when I like look at Sid and I look at Jessica, they're two different body styles to me.
hmm
I've seen Sid a few times this past year at shows.
Right.
We took pictures and talked, and it's crazy
Okay.
because you stand next to her, and she's just to me, she's little petite Sid, and then she
hmm
gets on stage, and she opens that back, and she
Larger
just the
than
way
life.
she, yeah,
Yeah.
the way she poses, it's just like it's there.
hmm
Um, and then you have Jessica, who's just she's just a big girl. That's when I say like the more dense muscle look. That's to me, that's what Jessica is.
hmm
She's full. So I feel like they're both that's the small petite conditioned, not small,
hmm
but
hmm
and then there's like Jessica, very to me very different body styles.
Have you met Lola Montez?
I haven't.
Okay. Have you met Jessica?
I haven't either.
Oh, well, there you go.
But I know you shot her.
Yeah,
Um,
it's got her. She's on the January issue of Amazon's fitness magazine.
so shooting her, how did like what can you say? Like what?
I can
Yeah.
say is as advertised.
Yeah.
She is, you know, but you got to understand, I'm looking through the eyes of a photographer, so everybody looks good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I can tell you from time to time, you can tell obviously the difference between the amateur and the pro, and you can tell the difference between a pro and an Olympian. And
Yes.
yeah, she is it. And
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
be a great battle again this year, no
It
question.
is.
But
It
yeah,
always is.
I shot her. It was a pleasure shooting her, and yeah, Jessica, she's something, and a great
Yeah.
person as well. Because I was able to talk with her, and of course, her and Ashley Jones are training partners, and so and talking to both of them, hey, they're locked in and they're going for it. So we're gonna see. It's
That's
gonna be a
how.
great Olympia.
Yeah. At the 60th too. That's going to make it even better. I feel like you watch these girls, especially some of the ones who have been around for a while, and when
hmm
you're right there at that top two or three, even in the shows, not just the Olympia, these girls they're aggressive. They're going after it, trying to get
Yeah.
that O qualification. So you watch these girls go from, show to show, and they're just battling.
hmm
They're after it, which is great. They want what they came for. And
hmm
I like the mentality of I will get it. Maybe not this show, but
Right.
at some point I'm gonna get it.
And they're
So
not just glad to be there; they're going to win. And that's
oh
between the
yeah.
pro and the amateur too. And a lot of
Yep.
times people say, "Well, I got my pro card," and that's fine. It's much like going from high school to college. Not everybody goes on to college to play sports. They
Right.
tap out in high school and so on and so forth. And then some of them were just glad to get that pro card or glad to just qualify for the Olympia. And that's all well and good if that's your goal. But can you tell me what is your why? What are your goals as far as this? Are you obviously you're not stopping? Um,
No.
you got plenty of time in the game, but what's your ultimate goal? Because
Well, so it was
obviously just not just
crazy.
to get there.
Yeah, it was crazy because all along when I started, never when I started as a lifestyle client. I didn't start
hmm
to compete, and then quickly into the lifestyle. The prior coach that I had said, "I think you have a gift. You should compete." So we competed. We did well, kind of like I was telling you in my bio. I stopped. I would come back. I had an itch every time that
hmm
I wasn't done. Something inside of me was still going, and I needed to figure out why. And when
Yep, lost you.
you got me,
I got you now.
Okay.
You froze for a second. Okay.
But I came back in 2021, and she said, if you win, if we get nationally qualified, that's it. Like we're gonna go for it. So I got my pro card, and at first I said, goals done, wanted my pro card, but that itch is still in me. There's something that says keep going. And I'm like, I'm in it to win it. So there's Tessa out of North Carolina, did her pro debut and qualified for the Olympia the first time. And I keep telling my coach, let's dig like Tessa. You know what I mean? Let's see what we can do. So
I forget her last name, but saw her.
Metz or
She did
Mates.
nationals one year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that December show.
Yep.
Then they did her Charlotte Cup.
Yep.
And punched her pro debut. So set the stage. But that's for me. I'm like, I want to. I'm 36. I'm not getting younger, but let's run with the younger girls as well and see what we can do. So
well, everybody talks about the muscle maturity and just the maturity as a pro as well. And I mean,
and I absolutely agree with it.
Yeah. So I mean, it's your mindset at the end of the day.
It's different, like I have a lot of friends who just started competing, and it's definitely one of those things. I'm like, if you stick with it, you grow. And then each year, you know what I mean? Like every year that you compete, you should be changing. So I would expect this year, or next year when I go to compete, to compare my shows, my pictures, and see growth and everything. So off seasons are worth it. They're hard to go through. I will say that. This is probably the longest time I've been away from the stage, but it's some days I'm like, is it going to be worth it? It is. It's hard to go through the phases to see your body change. But we need to do that for sure.
And at the end of the day, you want to show up to compete, not just to. I did a pro debut, as you were saying.
Yeah.
So.
Like my coach says, you get one. You don't get to take that back.
Right.
So make it worthwhile.
So now, no, go ahead.
I said top 10. I would love to get top 10 calls. He said, that's not what we're going for.
No.
We are not going for top 10. And I said, yes, sir, you got it. So he set that up there.
Yeah, that's a lot of time, space, money, and everything else just to say, oh, I just want a place, so you don't want to do that.
No.
And then a lot of it is, you got to challenge yourself to see how good you really are. And I think a lot of it, what you're telling me is coaches are looking at you, it's like, you don't know what you have. You have a gift. You don't know how good you really are because they can see the shell there. It's just like any college coach scouting kids to give them that big time scholarship,
Yeah.
They see where you're going to be, not where you currently are. So.
And that's what he says all the time. You have genetics, especially at 36, you know what I mean? Like you're still able to hang. And so he's like, let's use that gift, you know what I mean? And let's push with it. So yeah.
And you've been competing since 2012?
13.
Oh, that's when you started. 13? Okay.
Yeah. And it's changed. It's changed so much. I feel like all areas, you know what I mean? Bikini, there wasn't a wellness, you know what I mean? Just everything. It's cool to watch from year to year, you know what I mean? I feel like you have less and less women bodybuilders. Physique is hit or miss with this, that's a unique one to watch as well. It's changed a lot. So I know you capture a lot of that. I love watching your stuff because you really pick up the female bodybuilders and physique and still show us it's there, and
and I try to pick up all 6 divisions because I think they really are as one. I see them all as Amazons. And I love them all, as a photographer. Like I said, I'm not a judge. I'm the quintessential participation trophy, but because I think I market them all as Amazons, and ergo Amazon's fitness magazine. So love all the categories. Each category has a special nuance to it, a special pose. And if you love women's fitness, competitive fitness, that's it.
You have to. We are a different breed. So day-to-day life, not everybody likes the muscular woman, but
all of y'all get hate. The bikinis get hate too. Because there's people that's
100%.
off the street say, "Well, I could do bikini," but no,
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't. Because I don't know if
Mm-mm.
you could be that dedicated.
No.
Uh,
Yeah.
the thing I was
It's
like about, I want to do a competitive uh, bikini and wellness car wash or bike wash even,
yeah.
because it's never been done.
You should do
Everybody
it.
see a bikini car wash and it's like, yeah, you don't know like I know.
Yeah.
Because they get out there holding a sign on the side of the road and they do that 180 and face the traffic,
It's
it's over.
done.
Yeah, it'll be a
Or
bunch
that
of rubbernecking and wreck cars and
that
going over
face
there.
the back of the stage, but face the traffic. It's it.
Exactly.
That's it.
So it's all in the plans, but we'll see how it works out.
Yeah.
Now, what's good about this? You also being on here. You are sponsored by
I
Maximus
am.
Clothing Suits.
I am.
Let your inner warrior shine, and I'm glad to have one of the athletes on here looking for more as well. So that's perfect. How did y'all start this relationship? How did she find you, or did you find her?
I found her. So I've seen several of her suits on D Jackson and a few other people. But she had
Mm-hmm.
posted that she was looking for new athletes to sponsor.
Yep.
And so I wrote her, we were talking back and forth, and she just, said, tell me, what would make you good for being on here and why, kind of
Mm-hmm.
like you asked earlier. And they're a military family. So
Yep.
just the balance that she has, but the eye for the suits that she makes, and each piece is just individual to that person.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. And it's funny because even like I don't have it yet, but my posing suit, she tailored
Mm-hmm.
it. She said, "What do you want?" And I was like, "I love donuts and pizza." And so she's making my posing suit with donuts on it. She
All the
just
stuff you can't have.
yeah. But they seem like a great family, and she's just an outgoing,
Yeah.
beautiful person. It seems inside and out. We haven't met in person.
Yeah.
But just talking to her, she's the way she balances life. I know she moved this past year and was getting
Mm-hmm.
ready for her own show, and to the naked eye, she seemed so calm. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
she was just like, "We're just gonna do it. We're just."
Yeah, she's competed twice this year. And of
She
course, we're
has.
talking about IFBB Women's Bodybuilder Pro Michelle Bogdan.
Yes.
Her and her husband competed together in the Triple O
And then
Dynasty early this year. Yeah, and then she did the Van Al.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And you just watch her routine. She's just cute and bubbly, when she was doing
Mm-hmm.
her posing routine on stage, and just she radiates, and I love
Yeah.
that. So, yeah. And then her suits are
And
pretty incredible.
yeah, she's a great person, and so glad that y'all got together. And of course, she sponsors Rashana Boswell, Ivy Rain, and a few others that don't come to mind right now. But yeah, she's upped her game. She's got Olympians, she's got amateurs. So yeah,
Yes,
Michelle
yeah.
does it well. And of course, she was the first sponsor to come out and sponsor the podcast. The
Okay.
podcast has been up since the 31st of January. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
It's been great.
I didn't realize it was that recent, because I think
Yeah.
of like your pictures, the magazine and stuff.
Mhm.
So I didn't realize the podcast itself is that new.
Yeah. And the reason for it was because there was just a lot of false narratives about what the magazine was, what it was going to be. And I'm like, look, you just come straight to the source, and I can promote the magazine through the podcast itself.
Yeah.
And, and people will know the truth, not just
Right.
what they may have heard or saw on some other podcast having their own agenda. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've done a shoot before, and I loved
yes,
it.
we have.
So we definitely need to
What
get
was
her out
that
here.
shoot like for you? Tell everybody what it was like. Because it's been a while, but we definitely got to do it again. But what was your experience?
So I think actually it was probably one of like my first tailored to bodybuilding shoots.
Mhm.
I've done boudoir and stuff like that before, but it was fun. There was no nervousness. I think some of my favorite poses, I think one of the ones I have is where I was laying on the ground, and
Mhm.
the way you knew to, arch it up, pull your
Engage your
arms.
core, arch your back. Yes.
Yeah, you talked me through my poses, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And you captured great ones. We did several outfits. I did the little American flag.
Yep.
And I don't think that there was one that I was like, I'm not crazy about it. I think we had to actually wipe some out to say, okay, we can only do these few. Which ones do you
Yep.
want? But it was a great shoot. It was fun. You captured great angles. You know how to definitely lay the female body to get the right angles, and so definitely need to do it again.
And it's all about promoting your brand, and especially now that you're a pro, uh, you know, it's all about promoting your brand and which way you want to do it. And
Yeah,
so you need to shoot with the great photographers, obviously, to express that and
yep,
how it comes off like that.
yeah.
So it was great shooting you. I was glad to be one of your first photographers. So yeah, looking forward to shooting it again. So let me know.
You actually
And
shot
we'll make it happen.
I never say her name right. Is it Lucian? Behind me. She's a physique pro. Her and her husband, is it Ray?
Luciana Esquilin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And we remain friends. We still talk all the time because we
Oh,
were
that's
shooting the
great.
same day. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. She came in
Right after
before
me.
you or after
Or
me?
before me.
Right
Before
after.
me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we've remained friends. So
Well,
yeah.
that's great. And both of y'all are in, of course, Amazon's Fitness Magazine. So
Mhm.
everybody needs to go subscribe and check it out, and they'll see the photos. I shot
Yeah.
her husband that day as well. So yeah.
Yeah, they're dynamic. The both of them and the team.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, yeah. And then
Yeah.
Amanda, you did Amanda last week, and I was with her this weekend. We were talking about you. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
she's
Amanda Snooks. Yeah,
yeah.
she's
She's
in
a beautiful.
Amazon. She came to the uh, launch party and everything.
Okay.
So y'all were talking about me. What'd she say? What'd she say?
You know him? And I said, yeah, we've shot before. And she said that y'all had shot as well. And she loved working with you too. And we were talking about, well, we need to get up and do a photo shoot with them. And I said, we really do. Same with Meredith.
Definitely. Get on I-95 North. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. I told
So
Meredith one together would be great because I don't know
yeah,
if you've ever done two at the
yeah.
same
Meredith
time.
Mitchell, Meredith Mayhem, great
Yeah.
makeup artist, and it's
That's what I
like,
said. She could do the makeup. We'll be
yeah,
good.
it's always the makeup artist. It's kind of like the Cinderella story. I tell people this all the time. You be on a photo shoot with a model, and you got a makeup artist on the set, and you look to the left like, you know what, this Joker needs to be shooting as well.
Uh-huh.
But sometimes it works out, sometimes it don't. But sometimes you end up getting a better model, just because they've
Yeah.
done the makeup so much, so they have a instant chemistry.
Yeah.
And she's been doing makeup with me, wow,
For a while.
yeah, for a minute. So
Yeah.
but hopefully I'll get her in front of the camera. And she used to do women's physique, so
It's
we've got
crazy
to
when she
see.
posts her pictures. I'm like, holy
Yeah,
smokes,
yeah,
that
oh
was
yeah,
you. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
who knows? Maybe we can get her in front of the camera and get her back competing. So
We'll get her
yep,
there.
yeah. But yeah, Meredith definitely needs to do that.
Definitely. Yeah.
But that's great. Can't wait to shoot you. How tall are you?
5'8", almost 5'8".
Yeah, so when you put the heels on, you right at 6 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's you talk about weight and stuff. It's funny because I'm currently like in the 170s. That I don't care to talk about it. But it's funny because you ask people and they're like, "There's no way," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a tall girl. That's
Yeah, you are."
Mm-hmm. So stage weight's different, but you creep up there when you're in your off season. So
Yeah.
but
Well, your improvement season. There is no off season.
yes, yeah.
Improvement season.
No, you're all the
And I
time.
got that from Teresa Avancic. That was a term that she used. It's the improvement season, not the off
It
season.
is. It's year round. Everything you do in your life, you have to sacrifice a lot, and it's hard, especially with people like amateurs. It's definitely something that you have to fit in everyday life. I mean, even when I travel for work, I could be gone 2 or 3 times a year for up to a month at a time, and it doesn't matter if you travel. You have to figure out where's the gym, how do I prep? You know what I mean? Like, can I get a hotel with a kitchen? Because it's riddled in your life everywhere, everything that you do. So, it's summer vacation for the kids, and we go out on the boat, and I'm eating, broccoli and chicken and on the island, after we're boating, and you have to do it. So,
and you do a lot of TDY?
Not often. We go 2 to 3 times a year, for about a month at a time. It's usually good spots. There's never usually anything like too crazy.
Right.
No, but it definitely, plays into what we do because you usually work longer. You know how it is being prior military. So you could be working 12s, or whatever. You're in not your home environment, so you're trying to make everything work with what you have. And it can get pretty interesting, but you do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you're in Destin, Florida?
Near Destin, Florida. Yeah.
So can you talk about what you do or who you work for?
I work for Lockheed Martin, and
Okay.
I'm a computer admin. So we just do computer work for the Air Force contractor. So
Big time contractor, yeah.
it is. I wanted to be in the service for forever. Talked to a few recruiters. It was after I had kids, and then it wasn't going to work. So I was like, what's as close to the feeling as being in where I can still work side by side with the customer, which is the Air Force, and still get that same feeling. So I feel like this is the best of both worlds. Being able to support them and work with them, but I'm not in the military. So it's a great job.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
When you look at it now, going forward, we're in July now. What's the plan as you look is picking out a show next year, or is it still too early, or are you just in the gym just grinding to build your back?
It isn't. So my coach and I talked Friday actually of last week. We are going to do a gut protocol. So I'll run the gut protocol for the next 8 weeks. We will come out of the gut protocol. We will do 3 months of our final building stage, and then we will officially go into prep in we'll say the end of the year. So we're looking at maybe March, April, probably April, May of next year.
Okay.
Like I said, he said, let's do the New York Pro. And I was like, let's not do that.
So you don't want to do the New York Pro?
Well, I said, let's start small.
Okay.
Let me.
But I mean, there really aren't
small shows.
From April on,
I know
small shows.
It's weird. The way my body, I do really well if I do considered a warm-up show. So I said if I could do a smaller show, Charlotte Cup or something, which is growing.
Right.
And then do a second show, my body it's like once that first show is gone and then we go into a second, 4 or 5 weeks later, my body has gone through like that first initial peak. And then I usually do really well. I feel like I come in a little better on my second. So I said, let's warm my wheels up with a smaller show, get the nervousness off for the pro debut, and then let's go from there. So this time next year, so it'll be about 2 years of really just picking apart what needs to be done for the pro debut, and that's how he works. He likes to pick one spot first, so like the back, let's really grind the back, and then kind of puzzle piece everything together to make the whole physique. So we're eating a lot of food right now. So uncomfortable at times, but it has to be done.
You gotta build it.
Yeah. So there are days where I'm like, I cannot eat anymore. But it's worth it. It's going to be worth it. So I'm excited.
So I gotta ask. So you do the Charlotte Cup, Charlotte Pro. You win it, qualify for the Olympia. What you gonna do then? You gonna shut it down? Or you gonna do another show? Because success comes when success comes. And the biggest thing about it, you cannot become a victim of your own success. Because you were thinking one way, well, I'll just, as you said, I'll do a warm-up show, and then I'll do another show and go in that way. But success comes when it comes, and you got to be ready for it.
Yeah. So we'd probably have to talk about it. If I figured the way he works is if I did another show, it would probably be right after that, and then we would go into a full, season getting ready. But he definitely doesn't want me to, which is kind of like we talked about earlier. You see a lot of these girls that are right there to qualify. So they'll do show after show until they get that qualification. And, is it Madison? I just was watching her season. Madison, is it Dinges or whatever? I think she did the Charlotte Cup, and then she did the show here in Montgomery, Body B class, or one of the shows, and then turned around and did I think the Washington show, and each time, you know, was like second, third, and then went back to
Yeah.
second. And finally got her qualification. And so for me, I feel like that's how I would be. If we're right
Yeah.
there, I'm gonna
Yeah.
chase it. You know,
And you know, most importantly, coaches' feedback and the judges' feedback is critical.
absolutely.
And you got to get it. And like you said, she was placing second. It wasn't a third, fourth, fifth, five. You know,
Mhm.
in there she was placing second, and then she got it. So,
Yeah.
and now with 14 weeks out, plenty of time.
I think this Olympia, just because we talked about Tessa earlier, I feel like she's going to be up there running with the girls.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a very good shakeup.
Yeah.
And you see some of these girls, you know, we know Sid, we know Jessica. I think bringing new people in is always a neat factor as well, because it just shakes the game up a little bit and it adds new spice to it. So we'll see.
Forces everyone to stay on their game,
Yeah.
for sure. And you know, when you see that new blood, everybody gets better every year. You know,
They
it's just
do.
like the Kansas City Chiefs. They're trying to three-peat, but everybody gets better every year. And,
Yeah.
and that's
So what,
no
Sid,
different in competitive bodybuilding.
if Sid got it, it'd be 8 times.
Yeah, it will be 8. You know, you got to go. Somebody got to go take her out if they can. You know,
And Jessica keeps
If
hanging
not,
out there with her. So
just keep rolling. Yeah, and
Mhm.
Jessica, you know, she had that same thing of 5th at the Olympia, 4th at the Olympia, and then now, you know, she's right there. So you
Yeah.
never know what's going to happen. I think it's going to be interesting to see what the 2025 Olympia is going to look like, because I think they're trying to move back towards the original dates, because it used to always be in September,
Okay.
and so that'll definitely shake up the entire you know, schedule season, and
Yeah.
people will have to qualify earlier. You know, because it makes a difference. And
It
you're trying to
does.
qualify in September, and you don't do your first show till April. Yeah, it's going to be really competitive. You know.
And I think too, you know, now that I'm sure you remember when it was point based, and now
Yep.
it's not point based anymore. I think that changed a lot too.
Yeah, it definitely made it more competitive. You know, when you're in.
Yep.
But I don't like to see the loss of shows, especially when it comes to figure and women's bodybuilding and women's physique as well. But you know, it is what it is. So if they
Yeah.
can get the shows back, and women's bodybuilding is the ones that's suffering the most, obviously. And then figure well only was lost at the Arnold's, but you know,
Which
just
was
have to see
crazy to
how it
see.
goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now you're in Florida though. There's tons of shows in Florida.
There are.
You know.
I would probably travel. I mean, it depends. If I could keep it close to home, I would love to.
Yeah.
Especially so I could have family close by, you know, come
Yeah.
to the
And
shows
it's just
see that.
strategically, and sometimes that can be more of a, you know, comparison where they, you know, is more bothersome. You know,
Yeah.
more of a distraction
Yeah.
is the word I was looking for. You know, black people being their home, but then you go away, you don't have the distraction, but it always comes down to a strategy of how you want to do and how you want to finish. So,
Right.
but once you get it, now you know you didn't climb another rung on the ladder, and you just keep going from there. You know.
Yep. Yeah. That's what I feel like we'll do. I've always been very big with feedback. So whenever I get a feedback from a show, it's like right back to the drawing board, and it's
Right.
specifically tailored to what that feedback is. You know what I mean? So I think that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna see how it works out for us.
So you and Amanda met up in Florida. Were y'all at a show? Were y'all at the St. Pete's? Or
I went to Tampa for her birthday.
Oh, okay.
Another year around the sun. And then we did the St. Pete, which was the first year. And I think for pro, they only had bikini and men's physique. But it ended up being a very big show. So we did that, you know, went and watched the St. Pete first year. So it was fun. She's gearing up. You know, she's going to switch over to bodybuilding 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked last week. Yeah.
Which is crazy. But I support her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she knows she's got a lot of work to do with
Yeah.
the size to put on and stuff like that. But it'll be really cool to watch her to grow that way. So it's good
Okay.
to have support from people who
Right.
are like-minded, and
Oh yeah,
understand.
you definitely want to get around positive people. Stay away from all the negativity and the naysayers, and you got to have
I
that
know.
same environment.
Yeah. It's if you don't do the lifestyle, I feel like you just don't get it. Um, and it's so difficult to try to explain yourself or your lifestyle. Like I said earlier, when I go with my parents or my family, and we're doing things, and I'm carrying around meals, and
Hmm.
I catch grief for it all the time. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not worth it. Why do you do that? Or I'll eat before a big family dinner or something like that because I can't quite eat what they're eating. If
Do they
we're
go to
if
the beach with you?
they do, and they
Then
think
there
it's
you go.
amazing.
Say, and this is why.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Right.
Well, and it's funny because, like, you'll be in the store, Walmart or something, and, with
Hmm.
my family, and somebody will stop and say, "Holy smokes, do you weight lift?" And you're like,
Hmm.
"Obviously." My dad's like, "Do you get it all the time?" And I'm like, "You
Yep.
definitely get the occasional, like, what do you do CrossFit, or do you do
Yeah.
this?" And so
Yeah.
it's not normal, but
Yeah.
it's what we do. It's what we love.
Exactly. And it's a lifestyle. And again, you're doing it for you, nobody
No,
else. So,
no.
and you
Yeah.
want to be one of the top level competitors. Period. When you're
Yep.
going to try to be the best of the best, it takes what it's going to take.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Now,
always
who's
told
your
my
coach?
coach, Kenneth,
Yeah.
it's Foundry, Kenneth, yeah,
Okay.
Almond.
Almond.
So
Okay.
you're the Almond. And it's such a different approach, than a lot of coaches. And he says that all the time. Most people are like, this is not the normal. He's very big on starting from the inside out. So is
Right.
your stress good? Is your sleep good? Is your mental health okay?
Hmm.
Let's check your markers. You know what I mean? And that's been
The blood
a
work. Yeah.
yes, yeah, it's been huge because he's like, we won't do anything until stress is down,
Yeah.
until you're sleeping good, until you're feeling okay mentally. And he's taught me so much patience, boundaries, things that you wouldn't think tie into what we do, but it absolutely does.
Yeah.
So it's making me more of an athlete, internal and external. Um, and I'm learning to be patient. Before I'd be
Right.
like, I'm ready to show, let's go, let's do this. And he's
Right.
like, we're not just running to the stage. So it's it's a learning curve, but I like it. And it's teaching me more about myself. So I think it's going to make me that much more of a, better athlete as well when it comes time to show, because I'm building from the inside out. So I'm excited.
Definitely.
Yeah,
All right. Last question. I'm gonna let you out of here on this one.
do it.
So, if they look at you down the road and they say, "Hey, you probably should go over to women's physique or women's bodybuilding," what would be your thoughts on that?
It would probably be physique. I actually got
Okay.
told at one point, that my conditioning that I brought in for junior USA's was very close to like
Really?
women's physique conditioning, just very peeled.
Okay.
Um, so I would be. It's funny because I love the posing for figure.
Hmm.
Um, it would be a transition to do a routine, which that's probably the smallest of it. Um, it would take some finessing to get me to do it, but I would probably do women's physique.
Okay.
They're crazy physiques, but I would do it. Bodybuilding, probably not.
Hmm.
But I have a love for figure. But
Hmm.
if I had to bump up, what is it, Jessica? You've I think you did an interview with her. Is it Huffstetler?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I follow her. We chat sometimes, and
Okay.
when she did her pro debut, I was like, oh, she switched to physique. She shocked
Yeah.
us all.
Yeah.
Uh,
She was bigger at the time.
she
And
was.
at the time, Jessica, when I did the photo shoot in Pittsburgh, it was the
Hmm.
weekend of the Pittsburgh Pro.
Which
And
is
I
her
was
pro
telling her, I
debut.
said, "Hey, just pay the late fee. It's one because the very next week she was doing the New York Pro, and
Okay.
she was doing it as women's physique, but she didn't want anybody to know." And I was like, "Well, just go do figure at Pittsburgh. See what happens, see what your feedback is, because you
Yeah.
you never know." and so they obviously didn't have women's physique in Pittsburgh. So she went on and did the New York Pro, and she didn't
So
do bad.
did she do the Pittsburgh show for figure?
No, I couldn't talk her into it.
Okay.
It was like it was around 1 o'clock, and it was on a Friday, which is
Hmm.
check in. I said check in's at 5 o'clock, But yeah, so we had a lot of fun with that with her and her husband. And I
It's
believe she's going to do the Atlanta Pro, so we'll see. But yeah,
I want to say, yeah, it's crazy because I try to keep up with a lot of the girls that I've met, or
hmm
through, like I said, like you, or through the industry. You obviously meet everybody.
hmm
And we had started following each other, I think last year, the year before. And as she was, prepping for her pro debut, I was like, my gosh, her physique
yeah,
is incredible.
yeah,
And she's just so dedicated to it. And I kept thinking, she could be either way.
yeah.
And then
She
she
could.
posted her back, and I was like, the girl's back is insane.
You got that X frame and everything going on.
Does. And then
Yeah,
when she dropped by the way, on women's physique now, I was like, that
yeah,
very good call, very good call. So,
yeah,
and I think she fits in it. I think she fits in it well.
yeah.
She got top 10, I believe, for her.
hmm
Yeah,
So she just keep going on from there. Who knows? Who can say? And
yeah.
especially when you look at the Texas Pro and the prize money for women's physique, I'm just saying,
Is it good?
yeah, it's real good. 15K.
Okay, for top
Yeah,
for
yeah.
first place.
Sarah Vegas is putting it up. Yeah,
It'd make me work for it too.
there you go. And as things grow, as you get more shows and prize money goes up, you're gonna get the big dogs coming out, and that's where it
Yeah,
should be. And most importantly, more competitive. And
yeah,
so it's not that you got the best of the best on the biggest stage in the world. So
yeah, yep. But the beauty of it all is we're all very competitive, but you just
hmm
meet the most amazing people through this industry, whether it be the photographers, the makeup
right,
artists, the other competitors. I feel like I could say the same for backstage pro shows. I don't know, but you gain new friendships through it all. And it's a small industry. It's big, but it's small.
yeah,
Um, so I feel like you just meet like-minded people that are incredible, and you host friendships for forever. So yeah.
Ashley Berry, thank you for joining
Thank
the
you.
Amazon's
Finally.
podcast. Do stay in touch,
Yes.
and if you get closer, let me know what's going on,
Yeah.
how everything's going for you as well. And once you pick out that 2025 show,
Let's do it.
but most importantly, in the meantime, hey, let's get ready to shoot when you're ready.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Thank you for having me.
All right, thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Ashley Murray, she's in the Amazon's Fitness Magazine. If you are a subscriber, you already seen it, or if you ordered your copy of Amazon's Fitness Magazine within the last year, then you already seen her whole spread in the magazine. So gotta love it. Pro now, getting ready for her pro debut in 2025. So excited to cheer her on. She is really tall. She's 5'8". By the time she put them heels on, yeah. So size and symmetry and all the things they always talk about. But as a photographer, like I said, everybody looks good to me. So coming up on the podcast, happy 4th of July week, shall I say, and weekend going into the weekend. So everybody party safety. But on Thursday, Marilyn Yee, you seen her in Amazon's March cover of the 2022 issue of Amazon's Fitness Magazine. She'll be back on the podcast, and I'll be talking to her to see what's going on and what's coming up for her. Has she picked a show? And what show is she going to be competing in this year? So excited to talk to her. And then on Friday, Becky Short, we had that one rescheduled. She'll be in here to talk, and we'll talk about what's going on with her. I believe she's still on slate to do the Atlanta Pro. So excited to talk to her about that. The Atlanta Pro coming up into peak week. So peak week for the Atlanta Pro, and excited. I will be there. If you want to book your shoot, please reach out now, so you can schedule the shoot and get everything locked in. Because obviously it's gonna be very busy at that show. One of the bigger, all the shows will be huge from here on to the end. So that being said, We will talk to you guys again on Thursday with Marilyn Yee. I'm Glenn Young. Celebrate the female physique. Subscribe to AmazonsFitMag.com. Thank you to all the new subscribers to the website. And thanks to all the new subscribers to the YouTube channel, Amazon's Fitness Magazine. So let's keep it going. As I always say, there are those that are not going to be for you, but everybody's not against you. But it does mean that everybody's watching. So give them a show. We'll see you next time.